August 13th, 2025, Public Safety and Licensing Committee to order. First order of business would be a roll call.
Otter Whitener,
Here.
Otter Kelly,
Here.
Otter Pete, Otter Pabon,
Here.
Otter Frazier.
Alder Frazier is excused and Alder Pete may be here. I haven't heard. She just may be running late. Next item will be the approval of the minutes from the July 30, 2025 meeting.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion is second to approve those minutes. Any changes, discussion? No, seeing none. All those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. First item on the agenda, please.
Item 069725, communication on behalf of the city clerk's office amending the new cigarette, tobacco, and electronic vaping device retail license application for Zack's Vape and Smoke LLC. DBA Zack's Vape and Smoke located at 1743 State Street, Hyundai Farag Agent 8th District.
So I believe we had Hyundai come back because there was some question about the licenses that you may or may not have had, but have.
Yeah, I let my accountant know, and to my knowledge, I think everything is sorted out. We dropped off both the tobacco license and the seller's permit, everything. They said they were gonna give me a call if anything was wrong. They
Okay.
didn't give me a call, so I'm guessing nothing was wrong.
Okay,
Yes, we received a valid Wisconsin seller's permit number, everything is squared away now.
okay. Anything from the attorney's office? Now that
Nothing
we
here.
have everything squared away?
Yep.
Can I make one comment about your parking lot? Has nothing to do with your license.
Yeah.
You gotta clean that. You gotta clean that up. And then you
I
got
got
graffiti on the fence.
On the fence?
Yeah, I think that's new. I think that happened over the weekend.
Yeah, I'm aware, I'll get that.
Thank you. Right, so, do we have a motion in regards to this application?
Given that everything's all cleared up, I would move to approve.
Second. We have motion a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. You're good to go. So now the clerk's office can tell you what to expect.
So it's been approved through the public safety licensing. We will go ahead and send it over to the county council, and then the council will actually approve it. Once it's approved and everything is done and everyone's done their sign off, and we'll call you when the license is approved. Okay?
Have a great rest of your guys'
So
day.
council meets next Tuesday.
So do I have to be there
You
too?
do not
You
need to
do
be
you do not have to be there, but after next Tuesday, once the council approves, then contact the clerk.
We can issue you license then.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, thank you. All righty, we're gonna kind of go order a little bit. I don't see Ryan here. So we're gonna take a different item. If the committee does not object, I'd like to take item 0789-25 on page 4. If there's no objection, can we make note that all the Pete just arrived? Thank you.
I have one.
Okay.
Okay.
The clerk's office could read 0789-25.
Item 0789-25, communication on behalf of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, requesting the appearance of Marco Lazarevic, agent for Cabana LLC, DBA Marco's Neighborhood Bar located at 3001 Douglas Avenue, pursuant to a formal expression of concern and also requesting consideration of rescinding the formal expression of concern, 7th District.
Okay, I believe we have a little something from the police department on this item.
Sure, we did stop into Marco's to conduct a tavern inspection that was on July 19th, just after midnight. The operator on scene was unable to provide a valid copy of the operator's license. There was also some construction going on, so the pregnant women are not to consume alcohol sign was not present. It should be noted that I did do a re-inspection on August 3rd. I did follow up and stop out there. And all of those violations were fixed, and the original bartender from the 19th was working and did have a valid operator's license.
Okay, the reason this is before this committee is because I had gotten contacted by someone from, I believe, from the neighborhood or someone you may know. Do you want to introduce yourself, come up and
What I gotta do, so-
some of me? So You must be Mr. Lazar Bradbury?
Madam Chair, I think he needs to be sworn in.
I need to swear him in and also read him the kind of rules and formal expressions of concern.
Yep,
So if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Thank you. And then if you could state your full name? All right, so the formal expression of concern process is it's a strike system in which you can be called in to regarding an issue that has arisen. If there are 2 strikes in a 6-month period or 3 strikes in a 1-year period, your license can be referred to the city attorney's office for prosecution, resulting in suspension or revocation. These meetings and the formal expressions of concern are designed to talk about what the business is going to do to prevent this from reoccurring. It is not, you do not have to discuss the specific incidents unless you wish. And see here, make sure I have everything. That is kind of the rules here, is that you don't have to talk about it. But we do want, the committee wants to know how you intend to correct the issue going forward.
Well, I'm gonna have to make sure that, bartenders and whoever will be there does what everything they're supposed to do
Well-
and to have their, licenses on premises. And, I don't know what else I did wrong.
well, you were called in because of what was on the the premise report.
Mhm.
But I also had concerns based on an individual contacting me several times about who had the operator's license, who was managing. If you were leased out your bar to somebody else without changing the agent. So can you kind of explain what this gentleman that came with you, what his role is?
Well, I was running the bar, but then I'm diagnosed with lung cancer. And I have months to live. So now I need somebody to work, to do something, they cannot, so Jeff is helping me.
Jeff he's managing for you. Jeff, do you want to get up and
Sure.
tell the committee
Sure.
your role and
Yeah.
maybe help?
So anyways, obviously, Danny had a bad present before that, and, he had actually closed down because of what had happened prior to that, and then he asked me, obviously, having the bar there, he approached me and asked me if I wanted to manage the bar for him. So that is what we've done since then, and for the license and stuff like that. I mean, I knew he had one because he did that, his license was posted over a double vision on their wall, and now we have everybody's license on hand. The pregnancy sign that we had up there, we took it down because we repainted the place and we put it right back up. So it is all taken care of and stuff like that, and
But Mr. Lazarek is still
He's the
the
owner.
agent,
Yeah.
the owner and the agent.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So yeah, we're just managing it for them and going from there, and I'm trying to make it a nice friendly neighborhood bar, so. And we're trying to be conducive to everybody, I mean, obviously you can't control everybody, but you do your best to do it, so, and we're trying to be a kind neighbor, and I think most of them like us, we actually, the neighbor that had problems in the past actually came over and the other night, so it was pretty nice to have that. And I couldn't believe it either, so,
Okay,
so,
well,
but
that's
yeah,
good
no,
news.
it seems like we're winning over the people there, so. And like I said, we don't have long hours, and we don't stay open late, and we all know nothing good happens after a bar after midnight anyway, so. We try to close it up before then, yeah.
So the official reason that you were called in is because of what was on the premise report. The
Correct.
unofficial was concerned about who the actual agent remained to be. So now it's officially on the record that Mr.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lazarek
Not enough to pronounce your name.
remains the agent for Kafana.
Yes.
And it still has that name, Kafana.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions for I'll repeat.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, need some clarification. You said you had been closed for a while, or you wasn't operating
Just
normal
one.
hours because of lack of personnel?
And pretty much,
I put in my, I opened up a day or two a week.
Okay.
As much as you can see there.
My concern, I'm sorry, my concern there is that you gave us a business plan when you first got your license, that you would have certain hours and be open X amount of days a week. I want to make sure, I understand what we just heard, but I want you to understand that you told us that you would be open whether it's 5 days a week, 6 certain hours, and we want to make sure you're doing that because you do have a limited license.
right,
And, you know, if you're not using it, then it's not fair to somebody on the waiting list.
right.
That's my concern. Just want to make sure that that is clear.
Can I tell you,
Please.
tell you what the business hours are?
No, you don't have,
Oh.
yeah, but you don't have to. I just want to make sure that you're following.
Right. We're open 7 days a week, and our hours are from 12 o'clock on Sunday to midnight, and then Monday through Thursday, 2 o'clock to midnight, and then Fridays and Saturdays, we have open until 2 o'clock.
And with you helping out, et cetera, things you've already mentioned, you don't have any problems. You don't foresee in the future of having to have to close down for any of the reasons we've already discussed.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
We sure hope not to see you guys.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, Maggie.
So I think what all of you is saying is that the business plan that was submitted, you have to adhere as closely as possible to what
Absolutely.
that business plan is.
I understand
Yeah.
completely. I get it.
And then you may want to consider a change of agent at some point.
Well, I mean,
That's up
I
to
don't
you.
know if they can what's that go completely, but yeah,
Okay,
so,
all right.
but yeah, thank you.
Any other questions comments from the committee members?
So if the city attorney could just explain the vote to everyone.
Sure, so this is Marco's first formal expression of concern, so this would be considered a warning if it were to be received and filed. The three options that the committee has, should I quote these correctly, is to receive and file the item, which would be to find that there was a reason to call them in. The second would be to require them to attend a good neighbors meeting. The third would be to rescind the formal expression of concern if there was no basis for the call. And then defer as always.
I think given the circumstance, I would like to make a motion to do the good neighbors. And the reason why is that way you're kind of informed on what needs to happen and how it needs to happen. That way you're not missing any steps and we don't have to call you in. Obviously, you stated why, sorry to hear that. So I would make a motion to have you guys go to the good neighbors report. That way it's not a strike against you and you guys are kind of informed on what you need to do to move forward.
What does that pertain to?
So the good neighbors report would be a meeting with myself and any other city staff that would work to solve collaboratively any of the problems that are ongoing in a business. In this case, it sounds like it would just be some information about the legal requirements about having bartenders licenses and how to make sure that, the agent is still the agent and that, if there needs to be any adjustment of business hours and things like that. So,
Where does that take place? Or is it just something we sign up for? or-
after the common, if that is the position of the committee and they approve it, or they determine that's the vote they would like to make, and then the common council approves that, then I would contact you shortly thereafter. So it wouldn't be for at least another week or so.
I mean, if it's feels necessary, I don't know what besides him not having his president, I don't know that we did anything.
So
that was really out of line.
it's more of an informational thing. So this is our way of not rescinding, but not giving you a strike.
Okay.
We're saying,
I
do
mean,
this.
if that's what it takes, I have no problem. I mean, would he have to come in though?
We can do it over the phone or Zoom or coming in, whatever works for.
I mean, if I could be on his behalf, I have no problem doing
So I would need to talk with the agent, but you could be there as well.
Okay,
or you could be on the phone as well or on the Zoom.
oh, okay, I mean, if you could do it on the phone or something like that, I'm sure that wouldn't be an issue as well, I mean, I just.
And just so you know what is expected of you, so we don't have to do this again, and, you know, you guys can be well informed and, you know, everything's above board.
Perfect, I'm 100% fine with that, yeah.
I would second that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to call a good neighbors meeting for Kafana LLC DBA Marco's Neighborhood Bar. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. This will go to council next Tuesday. After next Tuesday,
Will he get a call or just settle up?
Yep, so what I'll probably do is I'll call the number on file.
Okay.
And then we can go from there.
Okay. Perfect,
okay,
are we good to go?
you're good to go.
Thank you very much, folks, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in and good luck to you, sir. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
You can go out that door if you'd like.
But moving is in your hand, I can.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye. All right, the next item, please.
Item 0768-25, communication. To have Special Agent Brian Walter with the Wisconsin Department of Revenue come to present the public safety and licensing. Some information and facts regarding the state regulations regarding liquor and vape licenses.
We move this to the end in case he's lost.
Move it to the end.
Madam Chair, could we move it to the
Can we move this to the end?
Let's move this item to the end,
Yes.
as Mr. Brian is a little late coming in. Okay, so that's, we can defer this till he comes in. Okay. All right, then the next item, please.
Item 0761-25, communication for discussion will receive police department regarding the RPD response plan.
Hey, I think Alder Kelly wanted to speak to this item.
Yeah, so we're gonna make a motion to defer this item to the next meeting.
Oh,
So that's okay.
There's a motion to defer. Do you want to speak to as to the reason for?
Well, I don't see the individual present that was going to give the presentation, and then we also had the other presentation on, so I think it was just too much.
Because of the length of our meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will defer item 0761. We have a motion and a second to defer this to our next meeting. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Oh, the one we did, I think a second for that, sorry.
That was-
Oh, thank you.
Okay, next item, please.
Item 0770-25, communication on behalf of Lloyd the Gap, requesting that please Thursday through Saturday, 10 p.m., 3 a.m. in the downtown.
Good evening, Mr. Legath. I'm gonna let him speak to this item as he is the requester for this.
Good evening.
Good
and
evening.
Thank you for putting me on the agenda, Chair.
My pleasure.
I way appreciate that.
My pleasure.
I love downtown Racine. I love Racine. I choose to do my business in the Racine. I have a lot of to lose in the city of Racine. I also employ a great lot of people. But what is nice is that I get to meet a whole lot of nice people. And I get to hear what they say when they're at the yard about downtown. They think it's beautiful. They think traffic needs to slow down, of course. They think other things need to be done, but also on big events, like when we have party on the pavement, or we have First Friday. I mean, if we can't do 10 to 3 Thursday, Friday, and Saturday because of money restrictions, can we at least do it on like not after the party at 10, just everybody goes home, No, I would like police presence all throughout downtown. Because we do have some issues downtown with people wanting to feel safe. I myself, I feel pretty safe, but I'm different in that way, I guess. But I would love for you guys to have like some kind of communication to the chief or to the mayor. The bid board took $18,000 from Metro to do off-duty police officers also, but we would really not want to spend all the bids money on that, when in all honesty, I think the taxpayers of Racine also deserve to have police presence there, and I don't think we have to do it on the bid total thing, budget, I guess, of 18 grand. So I would like a communication, or I would like a recommendation from you guys to provide us with that kind of security on those kind of days without using the bid money. We'll use the bid money on other functions, like in the afternoon, if we have to hire off-duty police officers or some other time. But on big events, I don't think that's too much to ask.
Well, thank you for that. Just a little historical perspective. Joy, you may be familiar with this, but there was a time when Downtown Racine Corporation provided Metro Police, and Metro Police would provide a report to the PSL meeting just now, as the police department does. So is it that DRC now is not hiring Metro Police like they had in the past? Is that something that's changed?
Yes, the DR actually, it goes to the bid board because it's the business improvement district and I'm actually on the bid board.
Okay.
So, I, you know, and again, I like Brett from Metro. I think he was a great guy and I have nothing against him. But we didn't get a police, they're not police by any stretch, but, they didn't provide a report like you said for like 6 or 7 months, I think it was. Well, and they're there, you know, they're supposed to be there from 10, I think, to 3 or some hours like that. And they said nothing happened in 6 or 7 months. Well, I'm legally blind, but there's nothing wrong with my hearing. So I highly doubt that actually happened because I do walk downtown a lot at all times and nights, which of course scares my wife because I'm legally blind. But I, again, would love, to your question, that yes, we took that out of, that's not anymore going to Metro. It's gonna go for off-duty police officers, but we still need help from the taxpayers of the whole city of Racine to help us pay for the police on big events and going all night long, not just leaving it, you know, if Monument Square clears out. No, we need more presence than that, and one of the reasons is, you know, we do have people that are in that area that are yelling and screaming, and let's be honest, if the police are there, they can usually move them along, or, you know, they can have a conversation with them, they can just escalate the situation. And if they need to, then they need to arrest them. But, right, I think for right now, that's what we need to do, and I know some officers, you know, I'm hoping that they accept the overtime. I understand they're stressed, and I understand they got a lot of things going on. There's no contract, I guess, for them or whatever, but regardless, we need to try to get these officers to help us do this overtime also. So if we can make their lives easier somehow, I vote for that.
So Joey, I just want to be clear that I understand, 2 things. One is that, are you saying that the Metro Police are not police?
Metro Police are security. They're not.
Security.
Yeah, they are, they've never been in my ideal, Metro can't, and I don't know why I can't speak to this 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they don't have they can't arrest anybody. I don't think they can,
The only thing they could do is call in the police.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, am I incorrect in that? They can't put handcuffs on somebody, right?
They have as much as anybody does, given a citizen's arrest. Yeah, what already exists within the law of that. Yeah, no, nothing special further than a citizen's arrest.
Okay.
Right.
Then my other question, Joey, is in regards to the bid, you said allocated an additional 18,000, so there,
Not additional. They took the bid, I'm sorry, they took the money that we were paying Metro,
okay,
charity,
okay,
the 18 grand, and we decided now to use it for off-duty police officers. But I don't think that the bid board should be in this game all by themselves.
okay.
I think that,
Now I
that's
understand.
the city, because it absolutely benefits everybody in the city of Racine. We have a great downtown, if we can, that's the heart of this, I've always said this, I'll keep on saying it, even though I have lots of properties other places. Everybody knows, you go to some place where you've never been, what's the attraction? The downtown. So we need to really emphasize on getting downtown going, because we need downtown to be extremely successful, be extremely safe, because if we have a great downtown, we are bound to have a great city, and I love this city. Thank you.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I have some questions.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries. So can you tell me again, what are the times and is it just the special events or all the time, or is there certain
No, not-
hours or?
No, not all the time. Winter time, of course, I don't think they need to have a presence out there at late at night. What I would love to have happen is on Thursday, Fridays and Saturdays, to have them down there from 10 to 3, but I understand that might be a big, thing to have happen. But my thing would be like, hey, if you get the right officers down, they can go down there and they can talk to the patrons in the bars. They can talk to the bartender, and the bartender can say, hey, what's going on, John, what do you need to drink? Coffee, water, and he's gonna say, hey, how's the crowd? Everything okay? And, that might solve a lot of problems right there. The ones that are gonna cause a problem that night, they're leaving, because now they understand that the police is here and, they're just not gonna get, hey, get out. They're gonna get a lot more than just get out. They're gonna get arrested if they cause a disturbance. And I think that if we had that and going into other shops and going wherever you needed to do to have communication with people and have those people come in, cops come in and, like I say, introduce themselves, not just for like, hey, I smell marijuana out in the alley. No, not going in there to harass or anything, like that. No, I'm saying going in there to help the bars and help everybody outside, everybody walking downtown to feel a lot safer. And I think that if we try that, I think you'd be surprised on how much I think you're gonna see drop. But if we can't do that, then again, I would like a big event, not just when Monument Square closes down or when they think it's, no, they should be all the way till bar time.
I have a question for whoever might be able to answer it down there. What zone is that considered in your patrol?
Anything north of Sixth Street would be area 2. But we
Okay.
do have a newly opened community-oriented policing house downtown with an officer assigned to it now.
Yes, that was my next question. So what are their actual hours? Is it more of a daytime thing or is it just whenever needed?
I wouldn't be able to specifically speak to their hours only because they're given the freedom to amend their hours based on any events going on, specific things they want to focus on, problems with issues or other things that arise within the neighborhood.
Okay, so I had a slight conversation with Ortiz when I saw him at the National Night Out, and I just said, has anybody been giving you feedback? And he said, based upon the model and the structure of community-oriented housing, we wait for, you guys to give us the information so we know what it is that needs to be done. So did you guys have a conversation with Ortiz or, and what was their,
I had a conversation with the, she came to our bid board meeting,
okay,
and I'm pretty confident that what I just said now, I think I said then.
okay.
So I don't think that's changed at all. But yeah, she's very, very nice, you know, very, I think she's great. I just don't think she can work like Saturdays or something. She has to request overtime. If she goes over a certain amount, she's got to request overtime,
Okay,
you know, that, so their hours. It's nice that they're there, without doubt,
right.
but I don't know if their hours are actually helping anything.
Well, I have a couple ideas I'm thinking about in my head, but I know like my friend Scotty Jensen, who used to run the Oasis down there at the beach. He actually used to do that same thing, but he used to pay for that himself and pay for two off-duty police officers to come down and patrol the beach, which was really nice and that, you know, kept it, you know, everybody knew, so they didn't come down there trying to rile things up. So, okay, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Appreciate your information.
Well, thank you for listening and thank you for giving me the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Do any other members have questions for Joy or comments? Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have a question for Joy specifically, but thank you for the information. We appreciate the insight.
yeah,
It kind of reminds me of what was done, let's just say a few decades ago, when the beat police were very prevalent. That was kind of common. But my question is to one of the officers, do we have data on the crime that relates to his subject? I mean, at crime after 10 PM, after you guys leave, after special events, first Friday, things like that?
We do employ at least one criminal analyst whose job it is to filter through that. So that data does exist. I don't have it in front of me. I'm not trained in deciphering it, but that does
Okay,
exist.
so that's the other part of where I was going with that. We do have some data available that we can analyze, look at, and then based on the department's discretion, periodically, we could, based on our current budget, et cetera, manpower strength, we could provide some type of support. Normal.
In theory, I think what you're asking is if this were approved.
I don't mean if it were approved, I mean under the current conditions. Cause you're looking at data, right? And you say, for example, you see that on Friday night or pick one of the 3 nights, at a certain time in a certain area has additional problems. So someone could be dispatched to that area, you know, to kind of quiet that.
Sure, we do use that, those resources and that intelligence does get sent down to the ship level. And officers do use that for proactive patrol. But you'll often find that on, say, a busy weekend night, some officers want to have their personal life. So we will allow officers to take off to a minimum staffing level. We have a staffing level that we maintain. And then if there are other calls for service, though, that officer who would be providing that proactive patrol would no longer be able to provide that. They would be pulled away from the area.
Thank you very much. Excellent answer. I appreciate it. Covered several different areas. Appreciate it.
I like that idea of what you just said about how to look at that data. I actually am trying to get somebody to do that for Main Street for the speeding, like, can we put up the radar guns, can we put test strips out? You know, that's 25 miles an hour and they're not going 25 miles an hour.
No place in town.
No, in downtown should be a lot safer than that.
Is there a way that this committee can get access to that specific data?
I believe so. I believe this committee, and what we could do with the request that's coming from Joey Legare is a couple things. We could ask to have that data provided, and I think the clerk's office would have to reach out to the data specialist to get that, or I think this is above your pay grade. So I don't want to put you in the hot seat. So I know that we really can't take an action on what is being requested, but we can gather information from the other side of the request so that we know how we want to proceed with this. And if, I'll say this, Chief Hilmer, who was the fire chief back 20 years ago, I can remember him shaking his finger at me and saying, Alderman, you can tell me how much money I can spend, but you can't tell me how to spend it. It's kind of the same thing
Oh, yeah.
with the
Never
police
can.
department. But we can ask, our police chief to come in, to have this data for us, to have some kind of suggestion on how perhaps the downtown COP house can be staffed at an hour that's conducive for whatever issues are having downtown.
I would love that, I will. Sorry for interrupting.
No, that's okay. So I think that could be a motion that this committee could make, is that,
Well, I would want,
if
if possible, I would want to have the data sent to us like a PDF so we can review it beforehand, and that way if we have Chief Ramirez come in, we are able to have questions
Okay.
ready for him. So I would be in support of doing something like that, but with us receiving that data beforehand, so we can look at it, formulate our questions, and then have Chief Ramirez come and talk about what it is and isn't possible in his eyes. I would motion that.
well, I think that would actually be appropriate because we do have this RPD service plan that we're gonna talk about at our next meeting, so perhaps we can piggyback, also have a communication to the chief to address what our options would be as far as providing more policing downtown during the hours that is suggested by Joey.
As well as going over that RPD response plan. So
Well, I
motion,
don't think this conversation would take nearly as long as the
That one.
other. And the other thing I think we've got to think about is, we get the premise report
Mhm.
every 2 weeks, and we don't see a whole lot of issues at bars from downtown.
Mhm.
So we do see issues at bars all over town.
Yeah,
And I think we're getting pretty close to being at our full strength. Are we getting pretty, as far as hiring?
On paper, I think we're close.
On- on paper,
It
okay,
takes a while for the training to catch up to the number.
okay.
For all, the off training out of the academy and fully able to clear calls on their own without somebody evaluating what they're doing,
Okay.
because
So I think that's another thing that the chief can speak to is where we are as far as staffing and the availability of officers to work during those specific hours. So Joy, this might take a while, but
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I at least want, a conversation, and if I'm wrong, I mean, I could, I'm not saying, I just think that maybe you guys will find something, and maybe you will think, hey, this isn't a bad idea, because if we can make people feel safe downtown, whether it's in their mind, whether it's not safe, or safe, we just, we have to make them feel like they're safe. That's the big deal for me.
well, it's not a matter of being right or wrong, Joey. It's a matter of can we allocate the resources that we have to that?
Yeah,
But
and I get it. I know it's like 18 months or 2 years for probationary period or something for police
And-
officers.
And we cannot direct the chief to grant this request,
Yeah.
but we can certainly have that conversation, so.
I would motion to request the analytic data. For us to review regarding the 10 PM to 3 PM crime spikes downtown, if the clerk's office could help with that. And to have Chief Ramirez, appear at the next meeting so we can talk about what options we have and what he views, as priorities regarding this particular item.
Second that.
We have, do I have to repeat that motion?
Was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one, yeah.
If they get the data and based on that, have request the chief of police come in.
Look at that.
And get it to us so that we can review the PDF.
There you go.
ahead of
Lord.
time.
Teacher.
That's-
We have a motion, just get that motion down.
Motion by Alder Malone and motion by Alder Kelly,
Second by Alder Kelly.
seconded by Alder Kelly.
Okay, any discussion on that motion?
Lord, I hope not.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Joey.
Yeah, thank you guys for giving me
Thank
the time,
you.
and thank you for putting me on the agenda again.
Absolutely.
Glad to have that conversation. Thank you.
You are all welcome.
Can we go back to the first, first, the,
Second.
second item? Yep.
Ooh,
second item on the
jumping today, I
agenda.
like it. Well,
So item 0768-25, communication, it has Special Agent Brian Mulder with the Wisconsin Department of Revenue comes to present to public safety and licensing some information and facts regarding the state regulations regarding liquor and gas license.
Thank you, and Agent Mulder, come on up.
Come on.
You can either stand at the microphone or if you want to pull up a chair, whatever you're most comfortable.
Okay.
Because we're just want to have a conversation.
Great. My apologies, I didn't know from data, I was told about 6 o'clock, so that's not.
Perfect timing.
Okay.
Even-
Well, as a formal introduction, I'm Special Agent Mulder of the state of Wisconsin with the Department of Revenue. Part of the Office of Criminal Investigations. I'm a state law enforcement agent, worked with the city and in cases around the time with the Department of Revenue. Covers southeastern Wisconsin, but also city of Racine and Racine County. And what I primarily focus on are businesses that are dealing with cigarette products, tobacco products, vape products, and we also get into gambling as well. That's the primary mission that our department is focused on. In addition, there are other general crimes that we get involved in, drugs, things like that. So, why am I here? I've had some conversations with Alderman Kelly, on just some things that as elected officials, what you can do, some questions about what state law is, what you can do as a municipality from your perspective, from your authority. And that's what I was hoping for today. Give you some, I guess I'll say, baseline information, but I would very much like to pick my brain. I'm your state law enforcement person, and I'll tell you what I do know or what you can do, and if I don't know, just gonna tell you flat out, if you don't know. I'm gonna give you some perspective on what it is as law enforcement that we're gonna deal with, especially when it comes to, say, problem businesses. And to give you that perspective that when you're faced with something of the effect of like a license, do we suspend? Do we revoke? Even if it's something brand new, do we even give this business a license? So hopefully, give you that perspective that, okay, law enforcement is doing this or has done this, now it's in your hands. So that's what I'm trying to hope today, not what we want to have. So. To start, Wisconsin has what's called a tiered system. It's set up and stable. Okay, now this tiered system consists of 3 tiers. We have the manufacturing tier, we have the distribution tier, and we have the retail. So the manufacturing tier are your businesses that are literally manufacturing these products that I talked to you about. Cigarette products, tobacco products, vape products. Then you have the middle guys, the distributors. So the products flow from the manufacturers and the distributors, and then lastly, the distributors are pushing it out to retailers. Now, that's where the elected officials and as well as the local jurisdiction, that's where you're gonna focus most of your time, is at the retail tier, that's the last one. You're also issuing licenses to these businesses, smoke shops, gas stations, liquor stores, things like that. The state legislature has delegated that authority to the local jurisdictions. Now, the manufacturing tier and the distribution tier, that still lies with the state. So we're the ones that police that primarily. We issue them permits. There is a legal distinction between a permit and a license. So under state law, when I work with past attorneys, usually it was new and I were pretty close on throughout the years. We would have a lot of communication when there'd be problem business. But she quickly grew to realize there is a legal distinction between a permit and license. So she'd always refer to license, just for clarity purposes. So, as a local jurisdiction, you're issuing licenses to these businesses. Now, in a situation where you are presented an application on a license to approve or deny, and this was something actually, I'm gonna take a little sidebar note here. I wasn't aware of this.
My entire time that I've been with this department, and all the years that I've worked with new, I didn't know that the common council had delegated the issuance of a cigarette tobacco vape license solely to the clerk. That's a little unique. So here's some things to think about. If you want to keep it that way, you're keeping it, that one person who is an unelected city official, nothing negative against Tara. I've worked with Tara for many, many, many years. But as elected officials, if you want to keep it that way, you're giving up your authority and giving it to her.
Can I interrupt you there?
Sure.
Because I'm not sure how we've done that, because any application for a license for cigarettes, vaping, it comes to this committee.
Just,
Right.
that just happened.
It does, but I didn't know when I saw the ordinance, I'm like, oh, all these years,
It has,
they didn't have to.
right.
The city
right.
clerk, Janice, before it was Janice, I worked with Janice,
Yeah.
they could have easily just said yes or no. And that was within their purview.
And right before New left, I'm sorry to interrupt, but she said that she had to update the ordinance. It hadn't been updated. I think Ian, it was a little crossover there. And we were a little behind on updating our ordinance. So I said, if I could jump in, and I want those vape licenses to now come to this committee.
Yeah.
So she worked with me to make those changes. So it did say, that's why the crossed out version said clerk.
Okay.
And so it now comes here.
Now it comes.
Right,
Okay.
which there was a lot of confusion because people are saying, oh, well, you guys are voting on all these vape licenses. Well, guess what? We never saw those before. They never came to us. And you just see flags and flashing lights just popping up all over the city and you don't know who they are and how they got the license. And that's kind of how this all got started.
Right.
So she worked with me to make that change. Sorry about that.
No, so that would be a recommendation that I would definitely give, as elected officials.
So are we working on that ordinance?
It's done.
That ordinance is already in effect. That's why the
Okay, yeah.
licenses are going before this committee.
Okay,
Okay, so, take some steps here. So, if you're in a situation that, you are presented with a license, and if you have any sort of concerns, this would be the time before you grant the license to express those, not only to the applicant themselves, but to other elected officials that are gonna be voting on this. Because if there's any concern, once the license is issued, the cigarette tobacco vape license is a lot different than the alcohol license. Under chapter 125, that's all the alcohol laws in the state. Those laws are very robust, very detailed, very thorough. There's a lot that the legislature, I'll just be honest, that's kind of like hide your hand on. But it's the complete opposite when it comes to cigarette tobacco vape license. The legislature so far has left the local jurisdictions far more control and authority. So while it's that way, might as well take advantage of it. Until the legislature takes, where it changed and take that back. So, go ahead.
Question, real quick. Can we deny, a vape or tobacco license?
You can, now, that's not carte blanche. Okay, you can't deny because of race, sex, creed, don't go down that road.
Protected status.
Right, okay, but if you deny just other reasons, and it would be good practice to articulate as to. You're too close to a church. Okay. They're an elected official, I've had a lot of contact with constituents, and they just don't want another smoke shop in, their district. Okay. Maybe not enough parking. All sorts of reasons why you could not, outside of staying away, race, sex, creed, religion, things like that. So
We've been told there's only a couple of reasons why we can deny a tobacco license, though.
pretty, well, under 13465, your reasons for denial are pretty much.
Could the attorney reiterate what we were told that we could only deny for?
Sure. So these licenses are shall issue licenses. And they have to be issued in strict conformance with what the legislature has set forth. The legislature has only set forth a few requirements on how to get one of these licenses. There's nothing in the statute that I can see that allows the committee to pick and choose based on location, based on just not wanting anymore. These are shall issue licenses. There's not a lot of discretion on when they can be issued and when they cannot be issued.
So I'll interrupt here, so
Just-
I saw a draft of this ordinance and. What you're referencing about what you can issue, actually, you're referencing state statute that is only applicable to the Department of Revenue when we issue permits. You're referencing a state statute that's under 139. I'm
Right,
referencing 134.65.
That's the exact what I'm referencing.
Right, so you can't, that's
No,
not.
sorry, 134.65 is the exact statute I'm referencing.
Okay, and it just says in there about strict conformity with
Right.
this, but what is
Yeah.
strict conformity? It doesn't say, it's completely silent. However, if you go to 134.65 sub 8, it'll say in there that municipalities can, adopt ordinances as long as in strict conformity. So there's nothing that says as far as what you can or cannot deny for, as far as the issuance of a license.
as far as
So
I,
we, at the department, we refer it right back to municipality and say, what do you have on ordinance?
Right.
For them, like what would you use to deny maybe a food license? Or an amusement device license, or a cabaret license, things like that.
well, for clarification, again, we were told omission on application or criminal record, right?
Yes,
Those are the only two we could deny a tobacco license for.
If that's your ordinance, then that's your
It's
ordinance.
not our ordinance, it's what we told what the state requires us to do.
That's what I'm trying to tell you with the state law, because the draft I saw specifically referenced some criteria,
Okay,
but that's not applicable. The criteria that was referenced is under 139, I forgot the subsection, but that is specific to permits and permits only, not retail licenses.
so this 134.65 sub 8 requires the uniformity of licensing of cigarette, electronic vaping devices, and tobacco product retailers. It's a matter of statewide concern. It has to be in strict conformance with 134.65.
Right, and if you go through the rest of 134.65, there isn't, it's absolutely silent as far as what your reasons to deny. So we at the state, we refer it right back to the local jurisdictions and say, what do you have on ordinance? If you don't have anything on ordinance, well, then that's something we would just say. That falls back on you, until the legislature updates 134.65, it's completely silent. And that's where this is contrary, because under the alcohol law, under 125, it is very thorough, very deep.
so point of clarification for the attorney, where would we have seen the denial for those two particular regions? Is it in what he's referencing?
Yes, so it is exactly in the statute under 135.65 1M sub A. It lists the two requirements that must be met, which involve being a habitual law offender or convicted of a felony, which they can't be, and that they've submitted sufficient proof. And then also under 1G is that they have to complete the application truthfully and completely. Those are the only requirements that are put forth in the statute. I do not see under sub 8 anything that would allow for the city or any city to add additional requirements beyond that, because that would be outside of strict conformity with the statutory scheme.
Well, your reference to 134.65 1M,
Yes,
that actually applies to the agent on the license. Not the license itself, so you can still have a license, but you have that individual agent, because under 134.65 1M, it references what we call the various 111 state statutes, that's fair employment. So when the clerk would contact me and say, hey, the agent is a convicted felon, okay, what's the felony? And if you go to those various 111 statutes, which are outlined under 134.65, there's a long list on there, and it'll say, the key thing under that, it says, does the offense substantially relate to the license at hand? So it's subjective. And I gotta talk to the clerks about this, because if we're talking about a felony conviction from 20 years ago, let's say it's a bagger. They really beat somebody up. Okay, is there anything else current? No. Does that substantially relate? I don't know. That's the determination that the common council has to make. But if we have a felony conviction, let's say from 5 years ago for check fraud or issuance of worthless checks, I would look at that and be like, okay, I think that's a little more that substantially relates, because now we're talking about a financial issue. There are taxes involved going into business. So that particular statute pertains to the agent. Now, if the agent, you find, where they feel they qualify for this, The business can appoint a new agent. Then can go through this background check for that criteria. So you have the agent, but you have the license. That's two different things. I hope I'm being clear.
Yes.
The agent is just the individual person who's gonna be responsible
Yeah.
for the business while they're in business for the licensing year. The
So-
license itself
Yeah.
covers the entire business, allows them to even sell these products.
So it sounds like we're taking that statute that applies to the agent and blanketing it onto the license.
Well, so it's part of the same thing, and it ties into that these have to be uniform across the state. We can't have the city of Racine making their own rules, the city of Kenosha making their own rules, the city of Green Bay making their own rules. That's not what uniform licensing means.
Well, that's actually what does go on. City of Kenosha, for example, has a lot of different regulations in the city of Racine and so forth. There's a specific statute in here that is only applicable to the city of Milwaukee. And like Burlington, that's in Racine County, they got different criteria that's not even in 13465, especially when it comes to suspension, revocation. But this is entirely, that's what I'm trying to stress. Currently, the way the state laws are, pretty old, pretty vague, like silent. So that's where a lot of jurisdictions, when it comes to these licenses, have far more control and say in what they want to do. Now, if you want to do that, if you want your ordinance to reflect this, that's fine. I'm not taking an issue. I'm just letting you know what you can do. I'm not telling you what you should do. That's up with your council. You and your council.
Alder Pete, you had a question?
Yes, a couple. First, well, maybe second, could you define the difference between a permit and a license?
Sure, a permit, as I mentioned in those two different tiers, the manufacturing tier, the distribution tier. So a permit is issued by the Department of Revenue. So because we have businesses out there that are literally manufacturing cigarette products, tobacco products, vape products, okay? Both in the state and outside the state. The distribution permit, again, that's under the authority of the Department of Revenue, where we have distributors that are doing business nationwide. Where these products are being imported into the state and being policed as best as we can by the Department of Revenue. Those products coming into the state and then in turn being sold to that third tier where these retailers are from. Now that's where the license comes into play, that third tier, and that primary jurisdiction lies with the local jurisdiction. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, perfectly. Looking at it from a tier standpoint of view, kind of like farming or something, you've got the farm and up his distribution channel down to the local grocery store.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, and you cover the states, I think, good question to answer. Okay, where I live at, for example, I can literally walk down the street and I'm in a different municipality.
Sure.
So basically, Racine can have, based on what you're saying, we could have one set of laws. You could go across the street and then you'd have another set.
That happens now.
Okay.
It's nothing new. This isn't just Brian talking, it is. There's even some nuances with the alcohol licenses. There are other jurisdictions that require more information than others.
Right.
They have other additional criteria than other jurisdictions. Perfectly within their right to do so. But again, it's what you want to do. And that's where you talk as a body, talking to your council, what is it you want to do?
Okay, I guess the biggest thing here is if we have more wiggle room and more discretion that we can be using instead of blanket approving licenses, that's what we need, exact clarification. So state says one thing, you have attorney saying another. Is this something that we would have to have more talk and information given to us? Because there really is no point in bringing alcohol, tobacco, vaping and cigarette licenses before this committee if we have no choice but to approve them, especially given the burst of, I can name at least 10 near me of these kind of facilities that have these licenses. So whether it is these two reasons or we have discretion, that is, we need finality on that. So we can move as a legislative body and do our job.
And if you were to contact other people or Department of Revenue, even our Office of General Counsel, they're gonna tell you the same thing that I'm gonna tell you. They're gonna show it right back on you. They're gonna say, what does your ordinance say?
So is that something that the attorney's office could look into?
So, again, so taking that into two parts. Attorney Arn, before she left, when this was drafted, did warn the committee that there was not a lot of use in having these go before the committee because they're shall issue licenses. There's not a lot of discretion to deny them. The statute is very clear that it has to be uniform. Milwaukee is an exception, as I'm sure we all know. It's a class 1 city, they have their own rules. But all of the other municipalities have to fall within sub-8 of the statute, that it is uniform, it's a statewide concern. The city, in this case, may adopt an ordinance regulating the issuance only if the ordinance strictly conforms to the section. There's no part of this section that allows for additional restrictions on a discretionary basis. I don't want them, there's too many close to each other, they have annoying signs, things like that. There's nothing in this section that enables the denial of licenses on that. If we were to enact an ordinance that would say something else, that would say, we want, a cap in the same way we have a cap on Class A licenses, that would be beyond what strict conformity is.
So then where do we go from here?
That, I'm gonna tell you, that's his legal interpretation.
Yeah,
I'm just here to tell you, there are other legal interpretations that are different than his. But he's your attorney, he works here, you're an elected official here, this is what you have to go with. I'm just telling you what, it does exist in other jurisdictions, but that's their decision to do so.
do you know of other municipalities in Wisconsin that use more discretion when granting the tobacco licenses?
Yeah, there, I'll just, you could contact the municipalities throughout this county alone. And they have ordinances as far as revocation and suspension of these cigarette licenses.
Denial,
What's that?
in denial,
Denial.
like denying these licenses other than the two that we have?
Right, that particular statute, if that's what you want to use for your criteria, it is, but to apply that as the license as whole, because that particular statute refers to the agent. It's a criteria for the individual person, the agent, not the license as a whole.
Is there a language in the beginning of that statute that states it applies to the agent only? No, we're a lot of on the spot here, so I appreciate everyone's cooperation, but this is something that we should figure out.
Yeah, so in this, the license applicant is the person applying for the license. It's the same way in that a liquor license, there's an agent that is the license holder. So these two requirements under 1M are requirements of the license holder, which means that they're requirements of the license.
Can I interject something here? There was a time when Focus on Racine would send students out to the different licensed premises that sold cigarettes. And they would have underage people try to buy cigarettes or try to buy a single cigarette. When that would happen, that license holder would have to come in before the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, and there was a time when we would revoke that cigarette license. So I guess from my perspective, I don't see how, based on the ordinance and the statute, how we can limit people from getting a license. I can only see on the other end, like with a liquor license, where we could be more proactive and reactive as far as compliance.
So I mean, it's up to two. There are municipalities in Washington County that have ordinances, like, we don't want smoke shops within 500 feet of a school. That's nowhere in 13465. And that's been presented to our department, and we're like, that's perfectly fine. That's an ordinance that you want to create, you're policing it yourselves. Go ahead.
I have a question. So you just actually answered one of my questions, but could a quota be put on similar to like the liquor licenses
Good. That's something you want to do.
in the ordinance that we just?
And it'd be through your order. Not state law.
I'm looking for an answer from him as well.
Yeah, that is not within the scope of the state law. It has to be a uniform regulation and strict conformance. The state has given us certain things on which we can deny for, and having a cap is not one of them. I would be interested if you have an example of a city that has a cap like this. I just looked at Kenosha's while we were speaking. Kenosha has very, very basic issuance of tobacco license ordinances. They're very similar to ours. I've not had time to pull up any other municipalities. If there are any with caps, I'd be interested in taking a look at them.
Thought in my head, I don't know as far as particularly quotas, but I know that the church requirement,
Yeah.
I know municipalities in Milwaukee County that have that.
Yeah, I would think that, if we can do that, we would wanna do similar to what we do with a beer license, where
But
we
that's the
can't have.
same thing, there's nothing under 125 that gives you the authority that says you can't put a quota on class A's. But the city of Racine does have a quota on class A licenses,
Which are the
class
beer,
A beer license. But that's
Yeah.
something that's unique to the city of Racine.
oh,
Like, go to Mount Pleasant, they don't have a quota on class A beer license.
Well,
Really?
Throughout my years working, I've had those cases where people would, yeah, I'm just gonna go to Mount Pleasant because they sell beer later in the city of Racine. So the same thing, it's from 3465 doesn't say you can't put a quota, neither does 125 say you can't put a quota. 125 does say with an alcohol license, you can enact stricter requirements and regulations, but you can't go less. So kind of the same practice here, you can be stricter.
I think this is an excellent conversation, because, for example, I don't know that I want to limit by quota, but if we're gonna limit. A beer license, number of feet they have to be from a daycare center, why would we not do the same thing with cigarette and vape? And the reason I say vape now is because you can vape inside of a store, as long as it's not nicotine, correct? You can vape in the bar, as long as there's no nicotine.
And, yeah, that's.
We found out you do hookah.
no.
Can the attorney provide clarification on that, where it does not specifically state that we have a quota for alcohol, but we do?
So under Wisconsin statute 125-10 sub 1, the municipality is allowed to prescribe additional regulations for the sale of alcohol beverages not in conflict with the chapter. Having a quota is not in conflict with chapter 125 because it's a different standard that the legislature has given us. It says that you can continue having additional regulations. So the city of Racine back in the early 2000s determined that would be an appropriate thing to do for class A licenses. It's a different standard under the cigarette, tobacco and vaping licenses, requiring that strict conformity with state statutes. If there was a strict conformity statute under the chapter 125, we probably wouldn't be able to do the class A, quota limitation. But because it's a different standard, we are allowed to do more under 125 because our ordinances don't conflict with the chapter, and that's what the statute, or what the standard is on alcohol licenses.
So you're saying in alcohol, because that particular statute says we are allowed to enact more regulations as long as it does not conflict with this.
Yes,
That is what that alcohol statute has, that the tobacco statute does not.
it does not.
Okay,
Questions for the agent?
I do. Did you have any other vape
No, I didn't.
questions?
I just, so I'd like to point out, I mean, I have had some criminal cases prosecuted here at Racine. And there have been a few, I don't remember the number, but there have been instances where I was working with new and found the conclusion of the criminal case. Was my reaching out to new and say, hey, would the city consider taking any action against the cigarette tobacco vape license? And I've come and testified for county council on this issue too, and followed up on cases involved and what happened, so. And I know there have been instances. Basically a suspension for so many months of the license of itself, but it was following the conclusion of,
Of a criminal case. Was it criminal case related to the license?
Yep,
Can you give me an example what a criminal case?
sure.
Involving
So
license
one thing
would be-
when it comes to these products, they're very much in high consumer demand. People want to smoke, it's like people want to drink. And businesses are selling this product, so they're gonna find ways to make extra money. And what that involves means is skirting the law. What I'm primarily dealing with is the taxation of taxes. So businesses, especially throughout this part of the state, being in southeastern Wisconsin. Chicago is the hub. Chicago's the hub for drugs, Chicago's the hub for black market, tobacco, cigarette smuggling, you name it. It starts in Chicago, it works its way up to Kenosha, Racine, Milwaukee, but it goes straight up to Minneapolis. That's just constant what we see over and over again, even when we work drug cases with sheriff's departments and such, you just constantly see that foot pattern. So these businesses are buying these products illegally. So they're not buying, they're buying them cash off the side,
Okay.
people off the street, off the books, bring them into the stores, sell them. And not only are they evading specific taxes that are assessed on alcohol products, cigarette products, tobacco products, businesses more often than not will also exclude sales taxes. So there's actually like two levels of taxes that businesses pay. So they do stand to make a lot of money. And to add some more context to this. So one particular case I had, this just involves any one of us, lone, a middle-aged male who engaged in this very activity, used his own private residence as storage ground. So would go down to Illinois, stock up on tobacco, bring it back to his home here in Wisconsin, and then go around to businesses and sell it for cash. Okay, that one man in that particular case would average between 500 to 800 grand for a 5-year period. That's just one man running a minivan, doing that himself. So you can imagine when you see these boxed in trucks driving around and they're around, I've stopped them at times, they're making millions. So I'm dealing with one of my cases right now. That's exactly what it is. It's a multi-million-dollar tax evasion case in Milwaukee. So there is a lot of money to be made. So if you're a small town, if you're a small gas station, and you can make that amount of money, that's very tempting. So,
Oh, yes, thanks.
Yeah.
Adding to point you made earlier, Madam Chair, there was a time back, I can't remember who was on that committee at the time, but we did suspend a convenience store's license because of what some of the officers saying. He was buying cigarettes, or one of his employees was, from Illinois, selling them out of his store here. So going back to what you were saying, after, we can be reactive, we do have latitude of legal remedies or tools in our toolkit once they start violating state laws, especially the tax laws.
But the issue is how do you catch them?
well, so this is a good segment that I want to point out to you. So in those cases where, my work as well as with the city, mine with the cities, when you get this sort of situation presented to you, like, okay, we're gonna take some action. Maybe a suspension or revocation. So what I'm talking to you about right now is hopefully it'll stay in the back of your memory. This went through a long process, either with me or with the city or with both. You know, could have gone through the courts, you name it. But this isn't something that just came to you because I'm bored or the city's bored. And let's just see what they'll say. So something to think about that, like, okay, the police, either at the state level or the city level, were very much involved with this. And they did a lot of work to get it to this point. And there's a reason why that it's sitting in your laps right now. And that's something to think about. It's like, okay, is this really the quick trip down the road who's probably quiet and abiding by all laws? Or is this the complete opposite? This is just a person who is just not gonna follow the laws no matter what we do. And now it's in your lap about, should you keep this license or not? Because when it comes to these licenses, like an alcohol license, it's a privilege. It's not a constitutional right. It can be taken away. Same with our driver's license. That can be taken away. And that's a power to think of as an elected official, like, we gave you this authority to engage in this type of business. And you want those good businesses here in the city. But when you just have your bad actors, you just might have to think about it. That's what we might be looking for, it's just a bad actor.
Well, I just wondered then how do you allocate resources for that? So for example, we have police officers that are, you know, spending hours of their time here at a meeting to send to this committee premise report as far as licensed premises. Are we supposed to now send officers out to check on any tobacco or vape to make sure that they have the tag, the stickers on it?
Well, they're doing that now, or you know what they're doing, they're contacting me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're contacting me and say, hey, we got something going on, you're a little more experienced in this, can you come help us out?
Does that happen often?
It does.
Oh, and then what happens from your end?
Well, each case is gonna be on its own merits.
Okay.
You know, is something worthy of a criminal prosecution? Not every case is, and I really can't just. Like the police, but we can't refer every single thing to the district attorney or me, the Wisconsin Department of Justice, you just can't do it. So I have other tools in my, belt that I can use. We also will do civil enforcement. So the Department of Revenue will do it, not the city of Racine. So if there's a business that I got caught up into some stuff, and if it seems like it'd be appropriate, they could do a civil enforcement. So basically what it would be is that it would be an audit of the business. And not only having to pay any sort of past taxes or evaded taxes, penalties can go on top of it as well. But again, that's all civil, it's all financial.
Is it something, this is a question for the city attorney here, that, is this something that we can gather more diagnostic information or comparisons of other municipalities? So we know for sure, is there someone that the city attorney's office has at the state level that we also confer with to make sure that we're in compliance, that we could get absolute clarification on this? Because if I'm watching this from home
Yes.
as a regular constituent or citizen, I'm very confused right now. Because I don't know what is what. So is that possible to have some type of presentation from you after we figure it out, like, okay, these municipalities can do this? So we actually have a little more wiggle room than we thought, or nope, it's pretty straight across the board.
Sure, I can absolutely give a presentation. I can also say, while I was looking here, a lot of municipalities like we have all of their ordinances online. I've taken a look at some of the bigger municipalities and they do not do anything other than what state law requires. Madison has very similar ordinances to what the state law requires. Kenosha has very similar ordinances to what the state law requires. Oshkosh doesn't even have cigarette licenses. They have a single sentence adopting 13465. West Milwaukee does the same thing. The town of Burlington does the same thing. I have not seen a municipality thus far that does anything other than follow 13465. I can continue to look. I can give a presentation if the committee would like that in a little bit more of a formal proceeding,
Yeah.
but I'm not seeing it.
You might have to look beyond what they adopt under specifically 13465, because like my years working with Burlington, for example, when they have suspended or revoked a cigarette tobacco vape license, they reference whatever local ordinance they use on regular suspension of like a cabaret license and things like that.
Well, if the chair and my other colleagues would humor me, I would very much like that, because as a voting member we're issuing this licenses, once we issue it, it's like a property right thing, right? So we have methods to get it back, but it's much more difficult. So I cannot in good conscience keep doing this without fully understanding what we have at our disposal.
So I would like just one clarifying question, if I may. So I have said a few times now about the different municipalities and the issuance requirements. And then the agent has then referred to the revocation proceedings.
Right.
Are you looking for a presentation on the revocation proceedings? I'm largely in agreement with him on that. It's the
Yeah.
issuance on a discretionary basis where we draw a distinction,
Mhm.
or would you like a presentation on that?
Anybody else? I think if you're in large agreements with verification, I think the main thing here would be issuance.
Yes,
Anybody
I-
else disagree?
I agree with that, because I don't want to be referred to as a rubber stamp, because that's essentially how it felt that it came out the last time we asked this question.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely not a rubber stamp. I want to use discretion, which is why I wanted these licenses to come to this committee to begin with, because they were just kind of flying by us in the dead of the night. So I would like to be able to revisit this with some, further information.
So just the discretionary part, that would be very helpful, so we're all kind of on the same page. And then we know where we can move forward, whether that's focusing more on enforcement and what that looks like, or how we can get information on that, or we do actually have a couple more tools in our tool belt.
Well, I would agree that we do need to look better at the discretionary, because the enforcement part is gonna be an issue. I can only think of one time when I was on council previously that we ever called anybody in for a violation, and it's very, very hard to catch. And we don't have the resources to send police out to make sure that they've got the right tax stamp on there, or if there's nicotine in that thing they're vaping. So I do think that we need to take a closer look at the, granting of the license.
And just again, for clarification on the city attorney's part here. Does the city attorney's office, again, have someone at the state level that they can guide with these things in? Or is it just the interpretation of what they're looking at by them, you know, in conjunction with maybe another one in the city attorney's office? Or do we have someone we reference or use as a guide?
Largely when these questions occur, if you contact the state agency, they say contact your own legal counsel.
Okay,
When there is a, then legal counsel can either look to publish guidance from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. They can reach out to other city attorneys across the state. They can look at what other municipalities have done, both in their meetings where they have robust discussions like this one, or, you know, whether they have ordinances that they've enacted that are similar to what the committee would like. And, you know, I have talked with Attorney Arn before she left about what the options are here. The statute at the state level is fairly clear. And I'm not seeing any, I did not see any ordinances from other municipalities about the discretionary issuance of the license. I will continue to look. I can reach out to some of my colleagues, but to get to the base of your question, there is not a person who is a decision maker at the state who's going to say, this is the correct way to do it, and this is not the correct way to do it.
it's law, so it's interpretation.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Agent Mulder, is there anything you'd like to add? Any more information you'd like to provide to the committee?
I know this will be up to the committee as well, so, there have been times where Attorney Arn asked me to come down when, we've been newly elected. And so there were a couple trainings that we did. I've done this before
Okay.
with other jurisdictions throughout Southeastern Wisconsin, come to speak right to the elected officials. Not only introduce myself and what I'm doing in your backyard, how I'm working with your local police, but also just to highlight, you know, some things as an elected official, which you know, with state law is. What would be the council, and this is kind of what it is. It's a back and forth.
So-
Hopefully a learning tool to, you know, better make yourself aware and be a, you know, better elected official when you're presented with these decisions.
So perhaps we could have a scheduled training session for a new public safety and licensing committee when that arises, and maybe a refresher halfway through,
That's
where it's not during the PSL meeting, but something separate from.
entirely up to you. Like I said, Attorney Arn has invited me down throughout the years and I was more than willing, and so, but if you want to do that, I'm fine with that. If you don't, it's nothing personal against me.
Okay. And I believe that if you have nothing else you'd like to add, we do have a couple questions from some of the committee members.
So I did have one last question to wrap up the vape. What is the update on the FDA changes to the vape?
Okay, so,
Oh, boy.
The truncated version.
yeah, I'm gonna be as short as I possibly can. Okay, I don't know if you've heard or not, but the state passed a law, basically what it's even been on local news throughout southeastern Wisconsin. And the term has been used like a vape. Was that something that anybody has heard? Okay, a couple of yeses and no, all right, so the law is in effect right now. July 1 of this year, the law went into effect, basically, you could say banning most vape products in the state. Now, September 1 is the next date. That date that carries both the, I guess you could say, the criminal and civil penalties. They're pretty hefty. Right now, I and others with Department of Revenue are working with the Department of Justice because there's court action that's being taken right now. Possible injunction is coming, I don't know. We got depositions that are coming up soon, so I don't know where this is all gonna go. Wait to see. But what's being contested right now is that, hey, we're basically businesses would be, really impacted because most products would not be allowed for sale. What
Oh, that-
Alderman Kelly is referring to is that the way the state wrote the law was that, okay, unless there's a vape product that has been approved by the FDA, it can't be sold into the state. Well, the FDA has only approved, I believe, it's 33 products. I believe, maybe give or take a couple, but most of those products are your big name stuff. Jewels, your Views and things like that. Most of the vape products that we see in businesses right now are not approved by the FDA. So what would that mean? Well, it can't be sold in Wisconsin. So I don't have a black and white, yes, no answer. I don't. This is very fluid. There's a lot moving going on right now. So what I can tell you is that you're gonna hear stuff in the news. You're gonna hear stuff from our department as far as what's going on with this current. But this is where we are right now.
The fines were like, I don't know, I read something like $1,000 a day.
It was $1,000 a day per individual device.
Wowzers.
Well,
Not to be, I'm sorry, not to belabor the conversation, but are you saying that the store's got 100 different products? That's $100,000 a day fines?
Could be.
Okay, I just wanna make sure I heard you clearly.
Hey, I didn't write these laws.
Oh, I understand, that's what it makes you.
This is what the legislature did, so as a law enforcement officer, okay, it's my job to go enforce them. This was passed, it was December of 2023, with an effective date of, summer of 2025.
this was in there with the ticket gun. Oh, good
Okay.
grief.
So
Thank you.
my last question, you had said something about gambling machines, which I know we've gotten in a lot of back and forth debate about those. So can you just explain, it's where it's legal, where it's illegal, the type of different entities that sell certain alcohol or not, and who enforces that?
Okay, so real simple, it's illegal across. Period. Now, where the nuances come into play is the type of alcohol license that a business may or may not have. All right, so if a business happens to have a class B alcohol license. Okay, the criminal severity for gambling machines on that particular premise have been reduced from a felony to basically a forfeiture. Primarily, that's your bars.
What would they forfeit?
It's a $500 fine per machine per day. So if you go into a bar. This night, next day, whatever. Most likely you'll see it there. And most likely what you will see is that there will be no more than 5. Why? Because the bar owners are aware if they have a 6th machine, now it's a felony offense. So they're not gonna play that. They're gonna stick with 5 or they're gonna go fewer. And again, it's only unique if you happen to have a class B alcohol license. It's still illegal. It's just not a felony criminal offense. Now, if you have a business with a different type of alcohol license, say a class A or a class C, it's a felony regardless. If you have 1 machine or you have 10. Now, what if you have a business that doesn't have an alcohol license whatsoever? It's a felony, whether you have 1, whether you have 10. Now, there is one unique nuance when it comes to the class B alcohol license. So for the criminal enforcement, there's only one law enforcement jurisdiction in the entire state of Wisconsin that can enforce the 5 or few gambling machines on a class B premise. You guys want to take a guess which agency that is? Right.
That's what we
So
heard.
the city of Racine legally cannot go enforce criminally a class B alcohol license, but I can.
Or class A?
Class A, the city, myself, the county, it's open to everybody. So as far as me, I get complaints, hey. The BP's got gambling machines, or a liquor store down here has got gambling machines or whatever. Okay, when I can, because I'm policing in southeastern Wisconsin, so I'm all over. So when my schedule permits, I'll go to that business, I'll look, I'll do a visual observation, I'll talk with whoever's there. I'll do an assessment determination based on characteristics, yep, it's a gambling machine, okay. Have a conversation with the person that's there, fill out a form, say they have to be out within 10 days. And 99.9%, actually 100%, they haven't had, in my time, 10+ years, a business owner just. Been a few instances where they kind of tested the waters, but eventually they were moved. And so they know once they hear a felony offense, I'm like, well, yeah, I'll send a referral to Racine County DA or Wisconsin DOJ, and if you don't wanna get them out, you had your opportunity. You can have your day in court, if you so wish. But in my experience, when I ask them to get them out, they get them out. Does that make sense as far as?
It does. I mean, I've seen into restaurants that have in their walkway like 4 different slot machines. So what, how did that, what do you, wait a minute.
Because like you said, a restaurant is also be a holder of a class B owner. And you, like you just said a key word, they have 4.
Yeah.
They could have one more, they're not gonna have 6.
Yeah.
Right,
Because they know then, now they're in the felony.
right.
So they're well aware they're gonna stick with 5 or fewer, because then it's only a forfeiture if enforcement is taken against them.
So they're not supposed to have them anyway.
Yeah, big picture, gambling's illegal in the state of Wisconsin. It's in our constitution. I know you may like, we got casinos here, well, it's on tribal lands. So tribes are different now, but I can't open a casino, I don't know if anybody here is Native American background, but we just can't open up a casino as a business. It's prohibited under our state constitution.
Interesting.
I love this.
I don't
This is
wanna-
amazing.
Well, I don't wanna aid in the bed, but.
There's versions of pull tabs though, where the owners will try to circumvent and say that they're not gambling, right?
And that's still illegal as well.
Okay.
That you just answered like 25 different questions that I haven't heard
Yeah,
asked.
our enforcement, perspective. We get, the video gambling machine issue is a bigger issue than pull tabs. But, yeah, pull tabs are still.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
that big presentation.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that's-
We
Well,
could
thank you.
entertain, if we are too lost, we could have a motion on what direction we want to take this communication. I believe there was some discussion about city attorney's office providing some additional information as to,
So
The
if
grant.
you would like to, I'll throw this out to you. I personally worked with Senator Van Wangard, and he, what we talked about is 13465. Believe it or not, before 2023, 13465 was even more, it was even bigger. There was less in it. But you figure 2023, what we have now, I mean, it was a big improvement. It could still be improved on more. But he worked with our department, he got a lot of that in there. As well as he, through his work, got a lot of criminal penalties enhanced for what we do. So especially, I mentioned about, I'm dealing with more tax evasion. Well, now the stuff with tax evasion is felony criminal offenses, so it definitely carries greater weight. In the cases to prosecution, that, okay, yeah, now we're dealing with felonies and not just low level misdemeanors. So I only say that because if you want to advocate more, to maybe see 13465 expand even more to empower local officials, as well as even help local attorneys, it would help me, it would also help the local police department. And he's right here in Racine. He was spearheading these changes under 13465 under the Act 73, which was passed in December of 2023. So food for thought. If you want to talk to the person who was behind this, it's right in your city.
I'm his alderman, so I know where to find him.
Okay.
We all do, some of us have one phone number.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you. Do you have a business cards that you could
Yeah.
provide for us?
And moving forward, you guys have more questions, you get complaints, you get a hold of me and let me know.
I have alcohol questions, but that's a whole nother topic,
Yeah,
another time.
So, if your awareness too, and even for the police department and the attorney, so under that Act 73 that I mentioned that got passed in December of 2023. So the legislature actually broke that, but separated law enforcement divisions under Department of Revenue. We used to have one standalone law enforcement division that handled all this. That bill, or should that act, excuse me, actually expanded it. Now there are 3 separate law enforcement divisions under Department of Revenue. So there's a law enforcement division under the Wisconsin Lottery that still falls under Department of Revenue. As Alderman Kelly mentioned, there is now a standalone law enforcement division that deals with only alcohol matters. So if you have alcohol licensing questions or alcohol stuff, get a hold of them. You can speak with a law enforcement official or just an admin person or whatever, that's what they're there for. I'm in the third division, basically, we're kind of everything else. As I mentioned, the cigarette, tobacco, big products, gambling products, and we also get wrapped into some general products.
Did you used to do the alcohol?
Right, so
Okay.
that's what, I was under the one umbrella, the one thing, so now they're three separate divisions.
Got it.
It's still new to everybody, we're still, kind of learning the whole new environment, but as time goes on, it'll just be second nature. There's been some correspondences that I've even received from the city that were alcohol related, so I just kind of told them there is an alcohol division and refer them to that particular division that is was called.
Thank you.
Thank you, Agent Waldheer. Am I pronouncing that right?
Sure.
Okay.
Look, he was-
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Do we have to see any file? Or had-
Well, I think we
Just the
wanted to add
presentation.
something for the. No, I don't think we need to receive and file communication. I think we want to take an action from this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could I have the motion for him to present at the next meeting?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Attorney's office.
Attorney Owen, would
Thank you. for-
2 weeks be enough to gather that information?
Yeah.
Okay, your motion to have
we did one in.
Yes, please.
We did one in.
oh, wait.
Yeah, I went to that one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he always gets a hold of me whenever he puts his questions.
We have a couple people that we want to send those.
Yeah, you get a hold of him.
Thank you.
Or it's even he might be willing to even, then just go through like a smaller private thing, which is.
We talked a little bit about that. Yeah, I heard.
And that'd be something I could go and.
I would motion to have Attorney Ian present at the next Public Safety and Licensing Committee. Information that he can find regarding the denial of tobacco licenses or what other municipalities are doing. And if we do have more wiggle room for denials of these licenses going forward.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Did we catch that motion? No, we didn't. So the motion is that the attorney will present to the PSL committee in 2 weeks, a presentation on other municipalities' ordinances regarding the issuance of tobacco, vape, and the other thing, license.
Tobacco and vape, you said.
Yeah, yeah. Tobacco, there's a third thing too, tobacco, vape, and
Cigarette, tobacco, and vaping.
cigarette thing.
Thank you.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Oh, that's right.
A second, yeah.
that. Any discussion on that motion?
Yeah,
I do.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I have one comment. I'm a little bit concerned about the wording that Alfredo made. Well, to give us more reasons to deny. I'd like to see that change to a different wording.
Well, what kind of wording would you have? Because that's the wording we're looking for.
Well, we don't want, yeah, but the. Something along the lines of guidelines for issuing or denying license. So that if we got to the point where we could want to craft up or draft the ordinance, we'd have some specific guidelines rather than saying, oh, this is what we're gonna use to deny it. These are guidelines that we use when we consider an application for tobacco or vape license.
Would we just be amending if we changed, it would be just amending the current ordinance, correct?
So for the,
If there was something to be changed,
yeah, it would be amending the current.
not
ordinance.
creating a new ordinance.
I mean, ordinances are creatures of the municipality, so, the difference between the two is not, it's not always a big thing, but yes, it would either be creating a new ordinance or amending an existing one, depending on the desire of the committee and the common council.
And I believe we know for the most part why we would approve a license. I think where we needed clarification is what if our ability, our discretion to deny is broader than once believed based on the research the attorney can conduct. So if you would like to say, take out deny, I don't know, defer, I'm not sure what you would change that word to. That's where I'm coming from. We know what we can approve. But we need clarification on what we can deny.
Yes,
Not saying that that's what we're gonna be using all the time, but at least we'll have clarification. That's why I motioned it the way I did.
in a second.
And there was a second.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Not me.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, moving quickly along.
Item 0689-25 communication communication requesting the appearance of Jesus Cortez for a new operator's license for district.
I do not see Mr. Cortez. Did we hear from him? This is the first time he was invited in, so can we?
No, second,
Yep.
I would
Oh,
motion to deny.
Second,
we have a motion second to deny the operator's license. Any discussion on that motion?
I have a question. So how were they notified? Is this by mail and,
This is through mail, certified mail. Yeah,
Yeah,
we sent
mail.
one certified, one regular.
okay. Got
Certified and ready.
it, okay.
At this point, we provided ample opportunity, and if they are not willing to respect our time and show up, I don't think that the license is that big of a deal to them, so that's why I'm motioning to deny.
And just for the committee's understanding, it's a year before this person can apply again, once they're denied.
I believe so, yes.
All those in favor of the, seeing no other discussion, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, please.
Item 0691-25 communication requesting the appearance of Peter Marcotte for a new operator's license in the 10th district.
Yeah, I know we had heard from him last time.
We also heard from him again this week. He did ask to defer again. He said he had another engagement at the same time.
Okay,
I'll move to defer.
Second.
motion second to defer. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Alrighty.
Item 0772-25 communication was submitting an application for premises description change for Chart Room Restaurant LLC. DBA Chart Room located at 209 Dodge Street, Racine, Wisconsin. Jenny Matty, First District.
Is this related to the next item as well?
Yes, did you want me to read that one too? Cause it's, yeah. Item 0773-25 communication, submitting an application for premises description change for Bridge Tender Tavern. LLC DBA Bridge Tender Tavern located at 303 Dodge Street, Racine, Wisconsin, private sale to Jenny Mann.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but this was denied the plea for because of the concern of serving the alcohol in the parking lot. Near the water.
I'm gonna defer over to Ian on that one.
Yes, so when this new application came in back in 2023, when the chart room and the bridge tender had were reopening from a period of time in which they'd been closed for a while. They had originally filed an application just asking for the inside and the porch. Then they wanted to amend their application and include effectively their entire land area, including the parking lots and the grassy areas outside of their premises. There was discussion in a Good Neighbors report that was submitted, and I believe with the committee about concerns with prior noise issues there when there was that large of an area in which alcohol was sold and consumed. And the committee just approved the original application for the inside and the porch areas.
This is just for the agent or the applicant.
This is for both premises. They want to use the outside like they used to. They used to serve food and alcohol out in the parking lot. It's not the parking lot, yeah. Yeah, so I think they want to go back to how it originally was before it closed up for a period of time.
We did used to get a lot of fights in that parking lot.
I remember.
That was the occasion.
I remember.
Are they, I guess this would be sort of the say, are they required to be here?
So the letter that they received that is on Legistar does indicate, it does say appearance is mandatory. As we're speaking, I'm trying to find the ordinance to determine where that language comes from, but they were informed it was mandatory to appear.
And they did submit, we called it and submitted as an email that the agent was I believe, so they wanted to see if we could defer.
Okay.
Move to,
Go ahead.
move to defer.
Second.
We have motion and second to defer both item 0772-25 and 0773-25. Any discussion on that, Nathan? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Alrighty.
And then the next three are pretty much the same one, too, you want me to know three of them, or?
Oh, yep,
Yes.
yes, please.
Item 0783-25, communications, submitting a renewal cigarette, tobacco and electronic vaping device retail license application for Dogan Group LLC DBA Dollar General Store number 14561, located at 4111 Durand Avenue. Kelly Van Biddington, agent, 14th District. Item 0784-25. Communication submitting a renewal cigarette, tobacco and electronic vaping device retail license application for Dogan Group LLC DBA Dollar General Store number 10764, located at 4901 Washington Avenue, Kelly Van Biddington, agent, 12th District. And item 078525. Communication submitted a renewal cigarette, tobacco, and electronic vaping device retail license application for Dogan Group LLC DBA Dollar General Store number 15206, located at 3440 Douglas Avenue, Kelly Van Biddington, agent, 15th District.
Did not know we had so many dollar stores. We need to
Didn't remember her stand.
That's,
So any issues with the renewal of these cigarette, tobacco and electronic vaping device?
anything about it then.
Any issues?
Hmm.
Anything from the police department? Have they got the stamps and all that good stuff?
I reviewed the stamps.
Okay,
I think I'll repeat the
I
motion.
move to approve all three of them. Stated.
I'll second.
motion is second to approve item 0783, 0784, and 0785. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 0771-25. Communication sponsored on behalf of the city of Racine for the licensed premises report.
Okay, Sergeant.
The only thing that I really have on there is that, we're doing our regular check on 1307 Douglas to see if they are in business yet as a business. Were people inside of it? It was an individual who said that he's now in business with the agent. And that they are in the process of trying to do construction on the bar to reopen it. They gave a list of inconsistent hours, saying that it was open on the 25th from 7 PM to 9 PM. August 2nd from 7 PM to 9 PM. And on August 3rd, hours yet to be determined due to concerns about the crowd in the bar and tracks. The officer also noted that the doorknob was not working correctly. They weren't able to open the front door, so I don't know what state the business is in. And that they are going to be revamping the appearance of the bar, including adding virtual reality games in the lounge area and converting the bar into a smokehouse, whatever that is.
So this is Courtney Marshall.
Well, this is, apparently, allegedly, according to the person that we spoke to, Courtney Marshall's new business partner.
And did we call him in? Was he here the last time we called him in?
No,
No,
we
He did
did,
not appear.
He did not appear.
we denied it because he didn't show up.
is that correct?
Yes. So that was his second formal expression of concern, got forwarded over to my office. I've now made contact with him because that was just formalized less than a week ago.
Yeah,
So, wait, I'm confused. So he's got a partner now and.
wait,
I mean, I was confused about.
yeah. 20 grand, you're talking about 20 grand? Nick?
Yeah,
Is that it?
both of these going to
Yeah.
different.
So,
So,
okay, so, hold on, wait a minute. If we have that and you haven't reached out to him yet, is he supposed to be operating?
So he still has he will still have a license until there is a revocation. So he will be able to operate throughout all of the proceedings, even if there were any appeals, typically those It's only when the last appeal is exhausted that the license is actually revoked.
Okay. Yeah, have we had, do you know of any formal filing that he has had to indicate he has a partner now?
I have not seen anything come through.
Does the clerk's
I,
office?
I don't think he needs to. It's kind
No?
of similar to what happened with the Marco bar that just.
Yeah,
opened.
I'm just curious, cause I know the time he was before us, he said he was working out some type of land deal or buying something.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's, but, okay, interesting. Thank you.
Well, I think our city attorney will get to the bottom of all that when he finally
Yes.
makes contact with,
Yes.
with him. So I don't know that there's anything we can do with this because we've already taken an action.
Correct. I guess it's my question, do you want my officer to continue checking to see if the business is still open? Or if it has regular set of hours in the meantime?
I will get back to you on that. I'm gonna get a hold of him and see what he tells me his plan is, and then I can, talk to you about that from there and if we want to do periodic checks or what's going on.
Cause part of that could be an amended business plan, right?
It could be something along those lines. There's a broad discretion, to kind of solve these issues in my office. If he actually just missed the meeting for whatever reason and he has an amended business plan and he's gonna get his act together, perhaps we want a business here, and if he, gives me the runaround or, continues to do what he does here, then that's something we can move forward for a revocation.
Okay, will be determined. Okay, thank you.
That's all I have from my report.
Well, thank you for that. Concise report.
Move to approve.
Second,
We have a motion, a second to approve the license premise report. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. We did already take care of the next item. We are about to go into closed session. I wonder if anyone would object to a 2-minute break
please,
Yes.
or 3.
yes, I walk slow.
I'm gonna go back to Blake's towards rest.
Yeah, that's gonna take more than 3 minutes.
Then I'm not getting up.
Steve, you're right, second.
I'm getting left here by myself.
I'm just standing up to stretch.
Shower this morning.
I'm just standing up to stretch. I've been sitting for some time now.
I understand.
Gotcha.
Why are you going in closed session on this item?
Since a settlement agreement, because we have,
Gotcha.
yep, we have pending legal action. So it's one of the reasons that we go into closed
We
session.
do it, so. Are we still, is she still?
Hold on, we are still in.
Yeah.
We're not in closed session
yeah,
yet.
very-
Alder Weiner, we do still have 0774-25 before we continue on to the closed session.
Oh, I missed one?
No worries, it was right after the premise report, and it's pretty simple.
Actions pursuant.
Oh, we want to file any formal. Yeah, yeah.
Page 4.
Excuse me. Oh,
Okay. Then we'll take up that item. Thank you for catching that. Absolutely. When we're all settled, we can go back to the top of page 4.
Item 0774-25. Communication requesting any consideration, any form or expression of concern or other actions pursuant to the police report.
Do we have any formal expressions of concerns or other actions that we'd like to take action on?
Nope.
If not, a motion to receive and file.
Second.
Oh, I just saw,
Oh, I thought you said,
I was,
move to receive and file.
okay, never mind, okay, I apologize. I saw some things, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, we're good.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
Motion a second to receive and file any formal expression of concern. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All righty. Next item.
Item 0778-25, communication, requesting an assistant city attorney present a settlement agreement regarding disciplinary proceedings against Lead 67 LLC. DBA Select located at 1111 Washington Avenue. Natasha Evans as agent.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session, which would include the language that is specified.
I would motion to go into closed session with clerk reading the language that is specified.
You can read that in your motion.
Oh, I can? Oh, how fun. Closed session, it is intended that the Public Safety and Licensing Committee will convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, section 19-.851G, to discuss strategy for litigation in which the city of Racine is or is likely to be involved.
Thank you. We have a second to that motion to go into closed session. Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We can close both doors. Is that necessary? There's nobody around. Why over there? It's blue.
You just wait for the video. There you are, hi.
Alrighty. Alrighty, so I think we'll go back to that, read that item again as we're in open session, 0778.
Item 0778-25, communications sponsored by Alder Weiner on behalf of the city attorney, requesting assistant city attorney present a settlement agreement regarding disciplinary proceedings against Select 627 LLC. DBA the Select located at 1111 Washington Avenue in Tasha Evans as a.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I would,
Let me get the doors. Quick.
oh, yeah.
Back in open session.
Thank you. Got a hold of it with the flag.
I don't know who
Thank you,
defined
gentlemen.
that, but, bueno.
Okay, we're back in open session with item 0778-25.
I motion to accept the agreement with the amendment that violation of this in the 30-day period would be a referral to a recommendation to the city attorney's office for revocation of the license.
Second.
No, you did great.
I thought you, okay,
I was gonna
second.
say beautifully said, and we have a motion and a second to approve the agreement regarding the disciplinary proceedings against Select 627 with the amendment that it will go to the city attorney's office for revocation should there be a violation of the agreement. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. One last item. Is it? No.
But wait, there's more.
0787-25, communication, requesting the appearance of Natasha Evans, agents for Select 627 LLC, PBA Select 627, located at 1111 Washington Avenue, pursuant to
Have your attention, please?
consideration of the
The incoming flag that will be closed promptly at 8. If you have any materials to check out, please do so now. Also, internet terminal will be shut down at 7:55. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any formal expressions of concerns based? Oh,
No.
sorry, jumped ahead. So this is, we invited them back in based on report from the previous meeting. They are not here.
Mhm.
What are our options, Mr. City Attorney?
Yes, so in these cases where there is a non-appearance for a formal expression of concern, the committee can view the expression of concern as effectively verified or correct and receive and file if they so choose. They would like to give the applicant, or my apologies, the licensee a second chance to show they could defer, or if based on the evidence presented, which there's none, they could rescind. It's the same three options.
Do we have a motion from the committee?
No motion to receive and file. And we.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
We have a motion, second to receive and file, which would mean this is their second.
This is their third.
So we're not starting all over again.
So the ordinance has the formal expression of concern date on the date that it comes off the license premise report, and this committee says, please come in.
Okay,
So that's by our ordinance when we count.
okay. So that is the third.
There's 3 minutes.
Well, how does that, I'm sorry,
Let's go ahead.
but how does that work with what we've already done with the agreement?
Yep, so the agreement that we have here, it would go into effect after the Wednesday following common council. It would cover their behavior, so it would cover this as well.
So this would be taken in.
It's not, it's.
So we could defer it.
Yeah, it could also be deferred, that is an option. But yes, so it's not currently in, so I have a list of kind of the behavior that this encompasses. It doesn't, doesn't explicitly say that one, because this was drafted and debated and agreed, or at least provisionally agreed to, prior to this one occurring. But there is an argument to be made that it is covered by this, because it's taking all of their behavior and suspecting.
Just wanna make sure it's not double jeopardy on one side, cause this is 3 in less than a year. When you look at it that way, but here we're saying we're gonna help you out, but no, we're gonna take it, so make sure that's clear.
What would the benefit be of holding that back?
So the way the issuance of these work, it goes based on the date that the licensed premise report is read and the committee says we would like to call them in. Per our ordinance, and I can tell you what ordinance that is. That is the date that it counts. So if we were to defer, it would be just for the licensee to show up and talk to us, or talk to the committee about the allegations. It wouldn't postpone the date of the formal expression of concern to the 27th. It would still remain on July 30th, that the formal expression of concern is issued.
Well, would it still be encompassed by the current agreement?
Yes.
So even if we deferred it 6 months, it would still encompass that agreement? Okay, that's
Yeah, but
what
they
I
won't
want.
have double jeopardy,
Right.
I guess is what.
Again, there was particular reason I motioned for this again is just they know how this is. They are not here. There's no need to continue to run over semantics. They should have been here, they're not, so that's why I motioned.
I thought we had.
We had a second.
Yeah.
Motion is second. Any other
Yeah.
discussion on that motion?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I'm gonna ask the committee to indulge me one more time to defer that final item.
Move to approve deferring the final item.
Second.
I thought 2-hour meetings were bad. 3 hours.
We prefer the items.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second to approve the item. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That concludes our business for this evening. We are adjourned.
Oh, God.
We
May I
have-
have your name?